Welcome to my channel. My name is Meme, also known as Memsnaij. If you're new, you know what to do. Click the subscribe button to join the family. And for the rest of you who've been here for a while, thank you so much for sticking around. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you a few things to think about before you set up a homeschool for your preschooler. 4 years ago, I decided to homeschool my son for almost a year. I thought that because I was a teacher, it was going to be easy, but I quickly realized that there's some things that you need to think about before you even start homeschooling, and I'm going to be sharing them. The first thing is to plan and prepare. It's not just about planning the activities that you're going to do. Yes, that is important. You have to plan that, but you also have to prepare the room, prepare the space. Make sure that everything that you need for your homeschool is available and easily accessible, and accessible for the child and for you as well. Decide where exactly you would like to have your homeschool. Is it in the sitting room? If there's going to be too much interruption, the sitting room might not be a good option. So you can opt for a room upstairs, the child's bedroom, the corridor, an outdoor space, you know, whatever space that you think is convenient for your homeschool. Obviously, it has to be a clean space. It has to be a space that people are not walking through very often, so that for the period of the homeschool there is concentration. Your child is focused on what they are doing and not getting distracted by movement or visitors. You have to plan and make sure that the time that you're going to be homeschooling your child, you switch off your phone, you don't have interruptions. If you're going to homeschool, do it properly. School is school. I used to do 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the evening. So if you're going to set aside 3 hours, make sure that those 3 hours are uninterrupted 3 hours. So these are the things that you need to plan. And obviously in preparing it, you prepare the room that you're going to use either the night before or some hours before you'd like to begin your homeschool. Make sure that everything is available, everything is easily accessible. So depending on your child's age, for younger children, obviously you have lower shelves that they can reach and access materials or whatever you're going to use on their own, and they're not totally dependent on you, that they can walk around and do things for themselves. The second thing I had to think about is age appropriateness. Is it age appropriate? The activities you're doing, is it age appropriate? Especially if you have more than one child. Halfway into homeschooling my son, a friend of mine wanted to homeschool her daughter as well, so I used to homeschool both of them. I would have them in the same room and they would be working on different levels, because obviously they have to be working with activities that are age appropriate. So I'll give you an example. We're going to water the plants. So we go outside. The younger child obviously is watering the plants with a watering can. It's easier, while the older child is cleaning the leaves. Or maybe trimming the hedges, just anything that is age appropriate for the older child, because you don't want to give them something that is too challenging and they struggle, and at the same time you don't want to give them something that is too easy and they're bored. So you have to think of what is age appropriate, what can grab their attention for just long enough that it's not too frustrating, or what can grab their attention enough that it's not too easy and they just overlook it and don't gain anything from the activity. So age appropriateness is very important. Whatever activities you're setting up, make sure that they're age appropriate for your child. The third thing I had to think about was the developmental areas or goal. What areas are we developing? So think developmental areas rather than subjects. That will make planning appropriate activities easier, because you're thinking developmental rather than subject. I had to learn very early on that homeschooling is not easy, because it's their house, it's comfortable, it's what they're used to, they play there, they eat there, they do whatever there. It's difficult to have boundaries. In school there are rules, so in homeschool there should be rules as well. So communicate the rules to your child. For me, it was respect. Respect the work, respect each other, and respect the space that we're in. Those were the rules for my homeschool. So whatever rules you want to set, you set them. But remember, the rules, communicating the rules, it has to be age appropriate. Your 2-year-old may not understand the concept of respect. So with your 2-year-old, you have to model. You have to show them, this is how we do it. I'm respecting the work. I'm respecting the space. This is how we respect. With them, you have to show. With them, you have to model. Whereas with your 4-year-old, they have a better understanding of what respect is. Something that Maria Montessori said was that the hands are the tools of the mind. And like, ever since I heard that, I was like, whoa. Adding the hands to your eyes and your ears, you know, it's not just passive. You're not just receiving the information. You're actually working with it. So very early on, I had to learn that It's all well and good to show this is but let them work with it. Let them put their hands on it. Let them build words. Let them create, create something with their hands, because that creation with their hands is what keeps the learning ingrained in their memories. Use multiple senses to help the learning stay ingrained in their memory. So another thing to think about is to, as much as possible, let the activities be purposeful. For me, I feel like learning has to be engaging. Learning has to be fun. Learning has to be, it's so important how we deliver the information to the child, how we deliver learning to them. They're not just empty vessels waiting to be filled. I mean, children, they're gifted with so much natural potential to learn, exploration, curiosity. They have these naturally in them. We have to try and make the learning as inviting as possible. All we need to do is harness their interests, direct them to the activity, fuel their love for learning, ignite the flame. Another thing to think about is this one, oh gosh, I see parents do it all the time. Refrain from trying to teach. Let them discover, leave them to discover. If they didn't ask you anything, you don't have to explain every single thing to them. Can they figure some things out for themselves, grown-ups? Hey, do you know what that is? A Rubik's Cube. Do you know what a Rubik's Cube is? Do you know who invented the Rubik's Cube? I'll tell you who invented the Rubik's Cube. Observing them is the way to discover how they learn. If you're teaching all the time, how will you know how your child learns? If you're trying to teach them everything, you'll never know how they naturally learn. And observing their curiosity gives you an idea of how they learn, of which ways you can connect them to the learning. And finally, don't forget the outdoor space. Don't forget to go out to the garden. Don't forget to play in the garden. Go to the park, go on walks, enjoy nature. Don't leave out nature, especially in Nigeria. I remember doing the homeschool, that was something that was very important to me. I wanted to take the children to the park to play football, because at school they have outdoor time, so they have to have that time at home as well. That's it from me. Those are the tips, the things to think about before you start a homeschool, especially for preschoolers. Remember that I am trained from 2.5 to 6-year-old. That's where my training is. So most of these tips are for that age. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Until next time, don't forget to spread love, spread positivity, and live to inspire. I'll see you in my next video. Before I leave, shout out to Dodo Gang. My Dodo Gang t-shirt. If you are part of the Dodo Gang, I hope you bought your own tea.